softly. Don't leave scratches on my skin. Always simple, it's complexity. Always begging me to let you in. I follow your silhouette, followed so easy. And round we went, yet to give in to me. And the answer is a mystery, spoken softly like a sacred sin. Time was empty, no reality, losing grip on what we had within. Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Can I fool you? I follow your silhouette, followed so easy. And round we went, yet to give in to me. And the answer is a mystery, spoken softly like a sacred sin. Time was empty, no reality, losing grip on what we had within. Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Can I fool you? I have you and you have me, sounded so easy. Ooh. But I got lost and you found me so easily. But then the world said, please tread softly, don't leave scratches on my skin. Always simple, it's complexity. Always begging me to let you in. I follow your silhouette, followed so easy. And round followed so easy. And round we went, yet to give in to me.
Hello, everybody. Hi. It's good to see you. Hello. Let's see who we got. Well, I know we got Nex, or at least we had a Nex, because I gave you the pin of shame for coming into my OBS and just immediately see Nex talking about making out sloppy style with Nightbot. Oh my gosh. But yes. Just trying to get back to the beginning of chat. Alright, Potato, Tycho, Nex, hello, Nix, hello, Lime, hello, it's good to have you here with us. Thank you for the resub, much appreciated. And Chilisibin, thank you for the follow. Same, I don't know if you're still hanging around, but same to French Toast. Thank you. Mint, hello. Points. Mint. Is a fire. Hello, Amy, Onyx, Triscuits. Hello, I hope your flight yesterday went smoothly. Kenji, hi. Oh, the little creature. Yeah, Dancing Salem's been there for well, been there for a while if you're counting the year that I've been gone, but before that they were probably one of the newer additions, but yeah, they've been around for a little while, not super long, but Next, oh god, yeah. I was peeping on chat while you guys were having your fun before I got stream started, and I was like, I can't let Nex get away with this. Peanut, hello. Actually a holiday. Oh, I hope you're enjoying your holiday. Had a very interesting pre-stream chat. I saw some of it. I don't know if I saw all of it, but but I hope you're all doing well today. We've got a new little background here today, just because it was I forgot this was a pack of images that I had found or got a while ago. I hadn't used before, so I was just playing around with it, and just thought it was a nice little aesthetic, a little rainy forest shrine kind of vibe. I just thought it was. I usually go more for sort of the like forest fantasy, or I would say I tend to veer more towards like imagery of like more Western fantasy stuff with my backgrounds and everything, but I really liked the vibe of these images, so I thought I would try and use it. I don't know if it'll be one that sticks around. I like my sky background that I use a lot. Love the background, I'm glad. Background is where you might run into blight. That's actually a very good point. That is definitely true. Some of the images in that pack are definitely very Blythe coded. You have a fancy Lyra, hello! It's good to see you. Yeah, all the commands should be working again. Well, I don't know about all, but some of them. I fiddled around with Nightbot and got them sorted back away. EP already, always. I'm always EP. And also my schedule from like Japan and then like the jet lag and stuff has actually worked out to give me like, this actually happened both in going to Japan and in coming back from Japan, where right after my flight, my schedule was actually really good for the time zone that I was in, where I was like getting up at like 7 in the morning and going to bed at like 11 p.m. It didn't last too long, but that's kind of what I'm still on. Not necessarily by choice, but that's just how it's working out. The song in my starting screen, it is by, I really need to add a command for that too. I don't think I have one, but it's not available anywhere but here, unfortunately. It is by a artist named Ference, who I will put the name in the chat if you would like to check them out. They do have plenty of other really good music on Spotify. I would highly recommend. But that was a custom piece that they did for me. So the monkey. Yeah, we got the little emote bouncing thing going on. Oh my gosh, another yawn already. Yeah. So what's with the spirit? Oh gosh, I gotta. I just saw the spirit fall. That's such an old command. How do I? Or not a? It's not even a command. It's a. What is that? A timer? Yeah. So we'll disable that. There we go. It was, dang, so my Nightbot must have broken, like, around when my Spirit Fall streams were. That was a long time ago. I want to check back in on the game. I know they've made a lot of progress, and, they're still in early access, but I want to see, how things are looking now. Oh, brother in Christ, Cat, hi! It's so good to see you! Snaps my fingers, stop me on it. I can't, I'm so sorry. I'm a sleepy bitch. And the thing is, I have my, like, the BGM on my stream. I also have it playing so I can hear it. Because it kind of just, like, gets me, like, in the right mood and everything for chill streams, so. Doesn't always keep me in that mood, but it's you know, having the chill vibes music tends to keep me in a more chill mood. First time seeing a Salem stream. I like the little neon stars you got dangling. I'm glad you like them. They're a little bouncy. But thank you for stopping by, Chilla Simon. It's nice to have you here with us. Gonna check out Hades 2? Absolutely, of course. I will be all over Hades 2 once that releases. Oh, Nix, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Nix2 has gifted Cajapol sub. Nix2 gifted a tier 1 sub to Cajapol. They have given 431 gift subs in the channel.
Also, congrats on the first Nix, and we've got a posture tech from Potato and a stretch, so I will do both. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Alright. So let's see. Why don't we... Well, this is mainly like, I still got some packages I gotta open and stuff, and so I figured we could do that together, so I think we'll probably start that sooner rather than later, and probably head over to our little hand cam stream to ooh, Nick's got a greater demon as their familiar. We assigned him familiars in the chat today. Yeah. As much as I want to see Hades 2, like, ASAP, like, you know, I trust Supergiant always. Supergiant never misses. They always got bangers. So I trust that if it hasn't come out yet, it's because they want to make it as good as possible, and I'm all for that. So that streams back to back. Yeah, I know this is. I'm trying to be consistent, and it's also now before I do like an official, like, you know, like celebration return stream. The more streams I do, the more I can catch all of the things that are broken and get everything fixed. So, yeah. They're giving it time to cook. I'm all for that. All right, so we're gonna start heading over to our head cow. Oh, yeah. All right. I will see you there. Oh, yeah. Okay, I need to move myself a little bit. I'm a little too... There we go. There we go. Alright. So, yeah, we got a little new, a new desk mat today. For those of you who were here yesterday, this is the, desk mat that I got in that Ito box set. The Ito themed, zine? I would say zine. Maybe other people say zine. But I just figure magazine, zine, you know. Anyway, this is it. But yeah, so let me get readjusted real quick. Thought that was a very buff Hootie. Hello, hi Elle. But yeah, this is Ito. This is my boy. Let's see. If games people are working on or cooking, does that make early access sushi? I'm gonna leave that for you to decide. The Ito mat, yeah. It's my boy. We're representing him tonight. And then we got some tea here. I'm worried that's gonna like be reflective, too reflective. So and this is actually so before stream I had to go shopping and get some organizers and stuff for some of my things. And I went to go get boba afterwards, but the place I was going to closed early, I guess, and so I was also grabbing some food after that. And the store I was at, I saw they had like instant boba kits, or not, like little like DIY boba kits, and I was like, this can't be good. This has to be bad. There's no chance. And so, but I picked it up to try anyway, because I figured, you know, if it is good, that's actually quite the cost saver. Because it was like $8 or something for 3 drinks, which is normally about what I pay for like 1 drink when I go and get it. And you know, it's not bad. It's not like as good as like going and getting it from like a boba place, but it's acceptable. It's certainly better than, I got a couple, like, while I was in Japan, I got like some like boba pre-made like little boba milk teas from like the convenience store, and the boba in them was so atrociously bad. It was just awful. This is actually like this microwaved boba is actually significantly better. Like I wouldn't drink the the convenience store boba because it was that bad. But this I can, you know, we'll make do. American witches make do? I don't. I thought we had some. Oh no, what's the drama going on with Tycho and Cad? Did you touch up your nails by any chance? Oh, these are my nails that I've had. That I got them done before I left Japan. I'm late to start the stream over. I'm so sorry. You're not late. I started early. That's all it is. Any cool tea for tea time streams from the trip? I didn't get any tea necessarily, but I have some accoutrements that we will see later on. Not this stream, but probably for my return stream, I'll probably do like a tea party style stream. I have some fun stuff. It's been really hard not to show it already, but I want to save it as like a nice surprise, so I promise we'll get there. Just passing by to tell you that you're awesome. Hope you have a good day. Oh, history, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for stopping by. Oh, I'm glad you like the mat, wizard. Is that a donut I see between the candle and the drink? Nope. That's I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but this is just a base for my candle holder. It's a little Bath and Body Works candle holder. And for anybody curious, the scent we are enjoying tonight is French baguette. Missed my chance for my first boba. No, well, it's okay. We'll rectify that. We'll get you some good boba. I promise. American witches make do new merch. Don't think she has to reference the donut. Yeah, I didn't get the donut reference. Bread candle. Yeah. So I have bread candle, and then I also have a pizza candle. I have let me grab it real quick. This is one of my favorite candles I own. I don't think I've only burned it like once because I'm so frugal about it. Because oh, it's a little dusty. But it's let's see how close can we get this? There we go. Rome Pizzeria. If you can't read that, but it's let me see. Is there like a scent description on here somewhere? Fragrance notes. Fresh garden basil, tomato sauce, warm crusty pizza dough with essential oils. That's my pizza candle. I literally walked into Bath and Body Works one time, and I was looking at the candles, and this one worker saw me looking at, I don't know what they saw me looking at, but they were really excited about this pizza candle, and they were like, hey, I gotta show you something. Can you come here? Like, they literally like pulled me over to take me to this pizza candle, and I could not be more grateful. It was like the last one they had, and it was when they had their they were doing their like semi-annual sale, and so I was like, there's no chance I can not buy this. I have to. This is a need, not a want. That sounds like the actual worst, but I'm just a pizza hater. Yeah, I mean, if you don't like pizza, then I can imagine a pizza candle maybe not great. But as for somebody who enjoys pizza, but it smells like. I've never been to a traditional pizzeria in Italy, but this is like what I would imagine it would smell like. It's not like, this doesn't smell like Domino's, you know. It smells like I really enjoy it. It's like unironically a really good candle. but it's just sort of like, I also never burn it because it's like, you know, when is the right time to burn a pizza candle? The headphone one, yeah, that's probably gonna pop in here and there. Where are you getting these candles? This is all from Bath and Body Works. Pretty much anytime you see one of these big 3-wick candles from me, it's always a Bath and Body Works one, because I always stock up during their semi-annual sale. I'm actually running a little low. I need to go need to look out for their next sale. They had a WD-40 brand candle? Hold on. I always like buying weird candles. There was a Raven Cycle candle I got once. And here we can check off the Raven Cycle reference for this stream. But it was it was very it was supposed to be like indicative of like all of the Raven boys, but it was it specifically reminded me of Ronin because it smelled like the smell. Maybe it was a Ronin specific candle. I could be misremembering, but it was the smell of it was like leather and gasoline, and you know, it's supposed to smell like smells like Teen Spirit, like that. that was kind of the vibe, a Teen Spirit candle. And it straight up smelled like gasoline. I was like, this is insane. It's not my favorite candle, but I'm almost like, truly more than anything, I'm just impressed how you matched the smell of gasoline exactly in this candle. It's wild. Okay, I got a Bath and Body Works WD-40. Oh, is it maybe not a Bath and Body Works one? I see the Mandel, the man candle, Grease Monkey. We don't have to call it a Mandel. This is not 2014. We don't have to call it Guy Liner. We don't have to call it a Mandel. We don't have to call brushing your teeth metrosexual. We don't have to live like this anymore. It's the classy, yeah, it's classy pizza. Yeah, I was like, I pointlessly gendered, r/pointlessly gendered, yeah. Big buff guy who has all like pink and flowery and fruity candles and calls them his mandals. Okay, that I could go for that. I could get behind that. But alright, why don't we go ahead and get started on our package opening. Also, I don't want to, just in case anybody's worried about the Ito spread, don't worry, we've got a coaster. What is our coaster? It's Catboys. We got a Catboy coaster for my Kingdom Hearts mug. I will say, the more I have of this boba, the worse it gets. The amount of hot boys in your room is incredible, unprecedented. I can't even begin to tell you. I can't begin to tell you the amount of merch that I have from Japan of just good-looking 2D boys, and I don't know where to put it all. I truly something I've been struggling with since I got back. I'm like, I don't have any more room. Where did I think this was all gonna go? The world's fruitiest setup. That's the goal. I need everybody to take one look at my desk and be like, this bitch is fruity as hell. God laid a cat egg will now live rent-free in my brain. Actually, I could show you guys the other now because you know, because Lamento's been brought up, I could show you the other music box that I have for Lamento too. Oh no. That's a free preview. Gotta get more shelves. I have so many. I don't have so many shelves, but I just already have, because I have like a little recording setup in my room that I just like keep up permanently, because it's made like it's like a PVC frame with like a bunch of like sound or like echo reducing like blankets and stuff that I put over it. And I have like my microphone set up inside it, and I'm like, so I can't, there's that, it already takes up a chunk of space. I got shelves, I got cupboards, it's the problem is less of the storage space and more of, I just got too much stuff. I gotta have less stuff. I'm just a little knick-knack collector. I love knick-knacks. Oh, my homies fruity ass. But yeah, so we've got so this was the one I showed yesterday. And it's got, like I said, it's Lamento. That's my little cat boy, Konoe. And then this is the other one. So this is I think this is the newer one. This is like the old merge. This is from like 2008 or something. I think this was like just a couple years. This one just came out a couple years back. But hello? Oh, this one gets stuck sometimes. Hold on 1 second. Alright, here we go. Yeah. That's the stuff. And it's got, what does this quote on here say? Yeah, it's, Lamento beyond the void. Forests and the world are swallowed into the void. Utsuro. I haven't actually finished Lamento, so I don't know what Utsuro is. I love this game with my whole heart. I haven't finished it. But to be fair, this is like a 70-hour visual novel. It's very long. It's an extremely long game. I'm gnawing on your wall, Sam. On my way to not my music boxes, please. We could have joint custody. We share them. We send them back every weekend. Alright, so why don't we go ahead and open our first package, since that's the whole kind of the point of this stream. We're 35 minutes in and we haven't even touched one. So let's find out what's in our first contender. This is gonna be very loud. I'm gonna mute the microphone real quick. I can tell from this packaging. Alright, so we got it. Oh, wait, hold on, let me read chat real quick. Lamento nonstop stream. Speed running getting banned. That game is graphic. Yeah, that is unfortunately not a Twitch safe game. There's my first thought is always of the most cursed part of Lamento, which is where snakes start going in places snakes shouldn't be going in. They're demon snakes. It's not. It's a wild game. Anyway, this is a cozy stream. So, this is. What is this thing on top? Is this like a Alright, so this is a Polaroid camera that I got. I forgot about this because I have one, but it's kind of busted, and I tried to get a replacement for it in time before I left for Japan, but it just didn't come. I fixed my other one while I was in Japan, so I was able to still use it, but this one is in much better condition. Oh my gosh. There's like a lot going on here. So basically these cameras, it unfolds like this, and it's called the SX70, and these are actually the first Polaroid cameras that had autofocus on them, which was really neat. And the way they did it was the autofocus actually uses sonar. Like it's like a bat. So it measures the time the sonar takes to come back, and then focuses like on that. And so there's kind of some funky quirks with them, where you actually can't like use these to shoot through like glass, like windows and stuff, because the sonar will actually focus on the glass, because that's what it bounces off of. But yeah, so I think these are really cool. I think they're from like the 70s or something like that. But yeah, this one is in fantastic condition. My other one is in not great condition. There's some pieces that are taped together and stuff. It works perfectly fine, but yeah, like visually, this one looks much better. And I don't know what this whole deal on the bottom is. This like magic flash, they call it a magic flash? I mean, obviously I would assume it's some sort of flash. You know, it's with this, but probably goes right up on top here. I'll just plug it right in there. Yeah. But I don't remember seeing like the flash in the listing, and this like strap is very handy and stuff, but yeah, this one is nice. Oh, yeah, I was like, why isn't it folding in? Because I'm using the wrong mechanism. But yeah. Ooh, I'm excited. I'm glad I got this second one. I love Polaroid cameras. Like, I've really been into like analog and non-digital stuff these past few years. Really just have been burnt out on technology a little bit. Kind of trying to go back to basics in to some degree. All right. Always wild looking back at what people got to do things before they discovered the modern ways to it. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, honestly, like I see some of the ways that you know, it's like we thought we were moving forward, and then it turned out we actually weren't. Sometimes you see like the ways people used to do stuff, and you're like, damn, that was kind of better. Yeah, something special about Polaroid cameras having that one chance to take a shot makes that picture extra special. Yeah, I really like that. I like, not to get too philosophical or anything, but I feel like we've kind of gotten to a place where we feel like everything needs to be saved and archived, and, you know, we have to, be able to save anything we want. And I think there's definitely a lot of important stuff that should be saved and archived and you know, protected and all that. But I think there's like a certain magic to the transience of a lot of things that I really have come to appreciate. Like I really try, when I go places or go to events and stuff, I really try not to take too many pictures nowadays. I really try to just enjoy it and take like a couple pictures, but I'm not trying to take pictures to remember every specific detail. I just want to have something to remind me of the feeling of being there, you know? Do you want to kiss about y'all smooching in the chat? Got a small collection of Polaroid cameras on my shelf, barely get to use them because the film is expensive. Yeah. I really like the SX70 I have, but this one is like I said, way better condition, so I'm excited about that. Amelia's smooching. Sorry, don't look. I'm nervous. It's okay. You don't gotta be nervous. You enjoy your smooches. Alright, so what do we got up here next? Oh, also, for those of you who were here yesterday, if you remember the Millennium Puzzle, package that I opened. So, I thought that was going to be an actual puzzle. It is not an actual puzzle. I was opening it to like double check, and I was like, okay, how complicated is this? Like, how long should I allot for this? It's not a puzzle. It's already put together. I thought it was, but I was wrong. Which I was a little sad because I was excited about that as like a group activity for stream, but. So I know this is like some kind of nerdy package because I can see it's from Ami in the box, but well, what do we got in here? Ooh, we got something exciting in here. It's our boy. It's my boy, at least. It's one of my boys. It's one of my many boys. It's the Thanatos Nendroid. Sorry, it's all purple. It's my little guy. Yeah. I have, actually now that I think about it, Zagreus. Yeah, Zagreus is probably in one of these packages too, so we'll probably see Zag make an appearance here in the next few minutes. Little guy alert, yeah. Yeah, I was excited for the puzzle stream too, but I want to get out like a puzzle or something. I know there's I actually just pre-ordered a Haikyuu puzzle the other day. Maybe when I get that. It was like $10 and it was a cute picture. So maybe we could do some Haikyuu puzzles on stream together. But let me grab the Millennium Puzzle just so I can show it to you guys real quick. I do Ooh, it's very reflective. I need to be very careful. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna try and be very careful about this. But yeah, so let's this is she. Okay, I'm very nervous having that out here. I didn't realize just how reflective that was gonna be. Let's move that back. But yeah, that is her. Oy. I got so many wires tangled up. I'm hoping they make a Millennium, pretty much the rest of the set, actually. I would like, ooh, I got my headphones on backwards. I would love to have the Millennium Eye, the Millennium Rod, and the Millennium Ring. I forget what the other, because I know there's 7 in total. Well, so Millennium, Rod, Ring, Puzzle. I think there's 7 in total, right? So there should be, this is 4, that's 4. 3, there should be 3 more. I think, because I think there were 7. What else was there? I can't remember offhand. But yeah, because those would be the ones that I would want most, though, for sure. Probably the Ring most of all. The Ring and the Rod, because I really liked Bakura and Merrick. And I actually, right up next to my Millennium Puzzle, I have the figures I have around it are the Dark Magician, the Dark Magician Girl, Yami Yugi. I have a like Pharaoh Yugi figure. I have Yami Merrick and Yami Bakura. And we got a whole little Yu-Gi-Oh section on my shelf. The headphone cord tugging that boba gives me nerve. It's okay, don't. I know I could see that probably making people nervous, but this is a very heavy cup. Even if it was empty, this cord could not do a thing to it. It's a very heavy cup. Fizzle, hello! Thank you for the resub, I appreciate it. Sticking with me for a whole year, I appreciate that. Oh, okay, yeah, Necklace, Ankh, and the Scales. Due to a bridge, the Ring is forever Millennium Gaydar. I never saw the abridged. I know of it, but I never watched it. But I do love that is what the Ring became. The scale. It was. What was it? It was. Was her name Ishtar? It was like Merrick's sister, I think, that had the scales. Correct? I can't remember. Honestly, I watched up until, I remember like when I was younger, I really only watched up until the end of like the what was it, Battle City, where they were like in the blimp having Yu-Gi-Oh battles in the sky. I don't really remember ever watching anything past that. It's so funny because there's some series that I really love, and I just didn't see the second half of them. Like Yu-Gi-Oh was it, and then also Yu Yu Hakusho. I only watched up until the end of the first tournament, and I loved that show, so I don't know how I didn't see the second half. And then with Rurouni Kenshin, which I know is the creator, we're not going to get into it, but the creator's done some very bad things. So that is definitely a show that has fallen out of favor. But, you know, when I was younger, I you know, I loved that show very much, and did not watch anything past after Shishio was defeated. Like in the I remember there was like the ship that was on fire, and they were having their final battle and everything. I never saw past that. I don't know why. I only watched like my favorite childhood shows like halfway through. Oh, something. Oh, I've got to get that Uno reverse card ready. Alright, next package. Alright, so what do we got here? We got another Ami package. This is probably, this might be Zagreus. It looks like it could be Zagreus sized. Me getting all of my weeb merch in the US while I'm in Japan buying more weeb merch. I got too much weeb merch. Ugh. One of my toxic traits is that I just want to have like aesthetic versions of everything that I own. So like right now I'm just using like a regular knife to open my packages, but I'm like every time I open packages I'm like, but what if I got a fancy knife? What if I got a cool knife? What if I got like a, you know, like the little letter openers that they're like a sword and they have like a stand for them and everything? I'm like, but what if I got one of those? I just want to be aesthetic. Cast Yassify on your belongs. That's exactly what I want. Not gonna lie, I thought you said weed merch for a second. I was like, haha, weed. Weed like that. What? No weed merch. No weed merch, just weed merch. Prelude to Salem accidentally cutting themselves? I hope not. I was literally worried about that, like both today and yesterday. I was like, I grabbed the knife for opening the packages, and I was like, I really hope I don't cut myself on stream. Anyway, Zagreus, yes! So we got, hold on, let me grab Thanatos. Reunited. We got our boys. We got our boys together. Now give me the Hypnos. Please, please, please give me the Hypnos Nendoroid. They won't, I know. But I want them to. I love my sleepy little guy. I want a Hypnos Nendoroid so bad. Well, actually, what I want is a 1/6 scale Hypnos figure, but I'll take a Hypnos Nendoroid. I used to get a lot of Nendoroids. These I got, of course, because they're Hades. I had to. But like, I used to get a lot for, like I have, what Nendoroids do I have? I was literally just like sorting through like my old boxes the other day. I have some, I have 3 from Onmyoji. I have an Inuyasha Nendoroid. Let me take a peek. I have Rengoku, Lanmonji, Wei Wuxian, Kuzuha, Tanaka from Haikyuu. I got quite a few Nendoroids, but I stopped buying so many, like, maybe like a couple of years back, because I was like, they kind of start feeling like filler figures to me in a way, I guess. Like it sort of felt like it was becoming like just like a slightly upgraded Funko Pop collection, and I was like, I would rather just like I'll buy like Funko, or not Funko. I literally own 2 Funkos, and they're of the same character because I said if they ever made Inuyasha Funkos, That's the one Funko Pop I would have to buy. And they did. So unfortunately, I own 2 Funko Pops. But yeah. You can mixing and matching the Nendoroid bodies is fun. Like and but it's not so much a problem with Nendoroids themselves. It's more of the fact that I feel like Nendoroids, like I actually, funny enough, when I went to I took a trip to the town in Japan that Karasuno in Haikyuu was based on, and I was talking to a few people there, and they were saying like some guests they had actually like brought like Nendoroids and like little Nendoroid accessories and stuff, and did like whole little like Nendoroid photo shoots, and it was really cute. And like I love that kind of stuff. I love little Nendoroid photo shoots. They're so cute, especially with like little sets and stuff. But I just feel like for me, I kind of accidentally went with like a quantity versus quality approach. So now I have like a lot, but like I don't have any of them in like cute little displays or with cute little accessories or anything. So I want to focus more on either getting like saving for like big like centerpiece like nice figures, or for the Nendoroids that I do have and get, I want to get like, you know, little like nice little sets for them and stuff. But yeah, I actually really got into garage kit figures in the past couple years, because like they're like it's sort of like how would you describe it? Sort of like what like doujinshi are to manga, garage kit figures are to like official figures, where it's literally like a lot of them are in like China and Southeast Asia and stuff, is where they're based out of, and they literally like create like they're figure modelers and stuff that do it as like a hobby, and then like sell like small batch shipments of their figures. And there's some crazy garage kit figures, like they get really wild, and they get so creative with like the poses, and a lot of the time there's like a whole like, it's not just the character, it's like a whole set, and they have these really creative bases. I'm trying to see if I have any. Do I have any garage kit figures here with me? I know I have one that I got. I have a Rengoku one that I got in the mail a while back. I haven't set him up. Oop. My boxes are falling over. I don't think I have any. Yeah, I don't have any out right now. But I have a Sino garage kit figure that's on the way. Like, they're just highly if you're interested in figures and you haven't looked into garage kit figures, highly recommend. Because like nowadays, a lot of the time I won't even buy official figures, because I'm like, these are kind of boring. I'm sorry, somebody else is closing their window. If you guys heard that. Yeah, the garage kit figures are really beautiful. Still can't get over how pretty the new tattoos are. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like them. Yeah, I'm very happy with these, and they have this sort of like sketchy look to them that I'm very like. It's really cool, I think. And like, of course, like they'll get a little smoother, I think, as they heal, because they're still sort of like a little bit of, I wouldn't even call it scabbing, but just sort of not even scar tissue or anything. It's just like skin that's still healing, essentially. But yeah, they have like a scratchy look to them that I really like. I think is really cool. I think that's just like the nature of this type of ink. Just realized what the tattoos are. Yeah. Just them. For those of you who don't know, it is the paper talismans that the medicine seller in Mononoke uses. These are like the center symbol on his talismans, and they are UV tattoos. So in regular light, they are totally invisible, which is very fun. You're beautiful. For some reason, every time I hear, first of all, thank you, I appreciate it. But also, every time I like see stuff like that, I always get like the the impulse to respond, like what is it? The one guy in Megamind, and be like, "No, you're beautiful, random citizen." It's just always the first thing that like auto plays in my head. Oh, posture check, Amy. Thank you very much. I did not see that, so thank you for the reminder. Oy. Keep me posted if you see any boys while you're looking at figures. Absolutely, I will let you know, Tycho. You know I'll keep you updated. Yeah. And I love you, random citizen. So anytime there's anything that's like vaguely phrased like that, that's always just it's my first thought. Please watch Mononoke. Say recommended offhand on stream, and that's my favorite. Highly recommend Mononoke. Please, okay, 2 anime. I recommend watching them around the same time because they're the same anime on different ends of the spectrum. Mononoke, it's like on the vibes spectrum. You have Mononoke over here on the it's the chaos spectrum. So at max chaos, you have Mononoke. At max chill vibes, you have Mushishi. And they both have the sort of like wandering like I was gonna say spirit detective, but that's Yu Yu Hakusho. They have the wandering like occultist doctor kind of trope. But Ginkgo and the medicine seller, I hold them just so gently. I love them both. Well, maybe Ginkgo I hold gently, and then the medicine seller I just grasp firmly. I just throttle him by the throat because he's such a weird little guy. Mononoke is one of the, if not the most visually stunning. Yeah, it is. It's such an amazing show. It's really weird. There's definitely some trigger warnings you should probably look into before you check it out. But where they can be watched offhand, I don't. I believe Mushishi is on Crunchyroll. I remember I watched that there. Mononoke is probably on Crunchyroll because I think Crunchyroll absorbed what was the other one? Oh, I'm totally blanking. But there was another big like anime. Funimation. Yeah, that was it. Thank you, Nutmeg. Mononoke's on Netflix? Wow. I feel like a lot of the times whenever I go to try like watch an anime or something on Netflix, whenever I search it up, it's like, here's these other things that are like that. Well, we don't have that. All right. We got probably a pretty involved package for the next one, so let's see what we got up next. Ugh. Because it is another, for those of you who were here yesterday, you'll remember how involved this package was, or this company's package was. It's another Owl Crate box, which is like a company that does like bookish themed boxes, and they always have one box or one book in each box, and then they have also like a bunch of like merch. I think it's usually like 5 or 6 things that are inspired by other books. So you get one book and you get some merch. If I can figure out how to open this, where do you, from here? Question mark? I'm struggling. There we go. No longer struggling. Alright. So, this one, we knew what we were coming here for. We knew this. The Raven Boys 10th Anniversary Edition box. The Raven Boy. They had a Raven Boys box photo challenge? I didn't get to participate. The raven in his hand was his heart, finally laid bare. This the shit that I'm living for in the Raven cycle. I love these quotes. Stretch, thank you, much appreciated. Thank you. Just got here, but I'm already seeing Raven Boys. I'm here for it. There was never any other option. So first up, we've got 300 Foxway souvenir spinning keychain. Ooh. I thought this was just going to be like an enamel pin. What in the world? This is so pretty. What the heck? So we've got, it's the 300 Foxway souvenir spinning keychain. Oh man, I wish I was burning one of my Raven Cycle themed candles instead of French baguette right now. So here's she. So this is, it's kind of hard to see, I know. Sorry. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, maybe? Here we go. You still can't really see it very well. The UV light is not great for this. So this is the Page of Cups, the 300 Foxway, and with a little like crystal ball in here. And it's got the symbol for like the ley lines, which are like the magical lines that the magical forest Caves water lives upon. What does this say? Oh, it's like a sign for their shop, for the psychic shop at 300 Foxway. It says Psychic Services, Henrietta, Virginia, established in 2012. I know you can't read any of that because it's all UV light, but yeah, there's like a little... Oh, it's a mirror. I get it. Because blue is a mirror. That's not going to make any sense if you haven't read the Raven Cycle, but that's so clever. I've been here for 2+ years, gone crazy over Raven Cycle merch as part of the experience. Yeah. Finished the Raven King a few weeks ago. I was not ready. Truly, like every time that I try, like I just, my life's mission is just to get as many people to read the Raven Cycle as I can. Okay, so I want to make sure I don't zoom out too much. There we go, that should be good. Okay, so we've got, what else we got? Ooh, Arboris loqui Latine. The trees speak Latin. Ceramic travel mug. I'm sorry. I love cupware. So I got really excited about that. And it's dishwasher safe. I love when things are dishwasher safe because I hate hand washing things. Don't make me do that. Ceramic travel mug is a perfect souvenir to remind you of the magical time spent exploring the depths of Caves water while on the search for sleeping Welsh kings. I was so excited about this, you guys. This is no longer a chill stream. This is a hype stream. I'm hyped. Can't wait to read all the books and understand that reference. Yeah. Thank you all for putting up with my constant Raven Cycle references when you guys are like, what are you talking about? Every time you bring it up, I wish more and more that I was literate. I want to know what you're talking about so bad. There are audiobooks. The audiobooks are so good. Highly recommend if you're able to do audiobooks. There's a visual, like what am I trying to say? Like a comic, a visual novel, not a visual novel. Why can't I remember the right words? Comic, I guess that's the right word. That's coming out eventually. I think it might not have been till like 2025 though. 2024 or 2025. Graphic novel. Yeah. That's the word I was looking for, the term I was looking for. Thank you. I'm actually planning to read them. I'm just very busy. That's understandable. No worries. All right. So here's our travel mug. Oh, I don't like that feeling. Oh, how do I take this off so we can see what's underneath? Be gone. Oh, I don't like that sound. I don't like this feeling either. Silicone going over ceramic is a bad feeling. Caves water. Where all your dreams come true. The Grey Warren Forestry Commission. I love this. I loved it so much. It's got like the little forest line here. It's like a Cabeswater State Park. Kind of. That's so funny. I love that. That's cute. Yeah, Arboreus. This, you can't see it because once again, UV light is absolutely awful for visuals. I actually I don't have like the other lights that I used to have for my stream. I need to replace those soon, but for now all I have is this. But it says once again, Arboreus loqui latine, the trees speak Latin. I'm not gonna put that back on. Honestly, I'm probably not even gonna use this as a travel mug because I don't travel anywhere. And when I do, if I'm bringing a travel mug, it's gonna be like a big old honking 32-ounce kind of thing. I'll just use this at home. Random question: do you like musicals? I feel like I'm being held at gunpoint every time I ask this question. I'm not a big musical fan personally. They're just not my thing. So unfortunately not. I'm so sorry. Sensory. Yeah, the silicone on ceramic was not that was not ideal. Perfect for holding tea. Yeah, this would be a great little cup for tea. Like I said, even just around the house. Alright, what else do we got in here? Ow, why was this... Oh, was this Yeah, that was maybe a little closer to the candle than it should have been. Whoops. Is this another candle? Is this a candle? This is a candle! Oh my gosh, it's Lynch and Sons! Craftsmen of your wildest dream. Purveyors of magical artifacts. Established 2012 at the Barns. Acres of slumbering dream creatures. Ooh, I really like I guess they worked with a small candle company to make these. They're called Lichen and Limestone. I really like the name of the company. What do you smell like? What do you smell like? Ooh, it's a woodwick candle too. I love woodwick candles because they have that nice popping sound. It smells good. I don't know how to describe it though. I can see it does have a dream vibe. I don't know how to explain that, but people sniff. Yeah, it smells very good. It smelled like if you were taking a nap at the barns, for those of you who are familiar with the Raven cycle, if you were napping at the barns and pulling things out of your dreams. I could see that smelling like this. I could see that. Just don't eat the wax, I'll try to resist. Does it have a burn time written on it? No burn time that I'm seeing. It's I mean, I wouldn't imagine very much. It's a rather small candle, but I still have a little bit left of. Ugh. I promise I will find some place for that cable to go. Actually I have more of this left than I thought I did. This is the candle that came with the Dreamer trilogy when that came out. In Owl Crate as well, called Night Wash. And this one smells like blackberry. It's a little dusty too. Everything's a little dusty. I'm sorry, I've been gone for a year. Yeah, this one smells like blackberries. It's so good. It's blackberry, sage, and rosemary. I love this candle, and I'm so sad. It's because it's like, it was a limited edition thing, and it's like, every once in a while I check online to see if there's like more that I can find to buy, but I haven't found any others yet. Because a lot of the time people will just buy like an Owl Crate for like one item or for a book or something, and then just sort of like sell all the other stuff. But so I've been trying to look out for. Oh my gosh, tea! It's a 300 Foxway little tea. It's 300 Foxway Psychic Services, Henrietta, Virginia. This is everything I could have asked for. I wish this was the last box I'd opened. Cause I'm having such a good time with this. But yeah, so it's got like a little sign, like their sign for their psychic shop, but it's ingredients: decaf Ceylon tea, rooibos tea, natural vanilla flavor, spearmint, and natural caramel flavor. That sounds delicious. I'm not generally a big rooibos tea fan, but I tend to dislike it more than I like it, but I will like this tea no matter what. If I don't like it, I will simply like it. That's the choice I'm making. Let's see. Ooh. Even it's got like some purple flowers in there. You probably can't see it because everything looks purple on my camera right now, but ooh, I could really smell the spearmint. Spearmint and caramel is an interesting combo. I like it more than I thought I would have. Hora, hello, thank you for the gift subs. Oh my gosh, thank you. Much appreciated. Hi. Sakuru, Aries, Double D Mint, and Audra. I hope you enjoy your Salem emotes. Thank you. Forcing myself to like rooibos because it always comes in pretty packages. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of teas that I feel like sound really good. A lot of like chocolate teas, especially that have rooibos in them, and I don't care for it. I couldn't even tell you exactly what rooibos taste like, but I just know like it's consistently in a lot of teas that I'm not huge on. I'm doing a lot of people sniffing. Just a lot of good smells in here. Yeah, so we got. Let me take another people sip. Alright. There's still more in here. There's a lot going on in here. We have a bag, an apron, a bag, I think. Ooh, yeah, like a tote bag. It's like a nice canvas. Try not to get anything in my tea. Yeah, we have an Aglin Bee Academy. Oh no. I don't know what this means. Dolor hec tibi proderet olim. It's the school motto. Oh gosh. Stuck that bag in my candle. Oh my gosh. I almost set that bag on fire. Whoops. It's okay. We're good. There's no fires. We're good. Sorry, I'm just waiting for... There's a little bit of an ember. I'm just waiting for it to... You know, cool down. I cannot believe I stuck that in my candle. I'm not working with a lot of space here. Okay, so I'm gonna step away for just a second and just go run this under some cool water. I'll be right back. Alright, we're good. We're fine. We're back. And it's okay. It was just the strap. So, we're all good. It's patinaed. That's all. I'm really like, I'm not worried about that kind of thing, so. Well, you know what? Hey. Sometimes this is really giving me flashbacks to the time my couch caught on fire when I was in the middle of a D&D session. I wasn't trying to relive that, but I guess here we are. Yeah. Okay, so this one, my fault. Wasn't being careful enough. Wasn't paying enough attention to the open flames. That time was not my fault. So, one time I was playing D&D on Discord with my group, and so I heard some like noise coming from my living room, and I thought it was just my cat. I thought and then I heard like what I now know was like the pop of fire. Or actually, no, it wasn't. It wasn't necessarily fire. It was what I thought it was I thought it was my cat pulling our our curtain down, like the curtain rod. I thought it was like the crash of the curtain rod, and I was like, oh, it's okay. Like, you know, this is the cat being a cat. I'll go check on it after and put it back up after I'm done with D&D. But just something wasn't quite sitting right with me, and oh my gosh, it was a good thing it wasn't, because eventually I was like, hey guys, I'm just gonna go check on something real quick. I'll be right back. And so I went in the living room, and what had happened was, you know how like, do you ever hear like just sort of like it sounds like the old wives' tale or the stories, now I know they're actually very true, of like the rechargeable like batteries, how they like, they're like stories of them like exploding and stuff pretty much like spontaneously. Well, apparently one of the rechargeable battery packs that one of my family members had gone bad, and it fully exploded in my living room and caught my couch on fire. It was not plugged in, it was not charging anything, it just exploded. And it was really kind of scary because it was like, we found some of the shrapnel of it, like in, like some of the places like where like Binks normally lays down and stuff too. And it was like not, like luckily Binks was away doing something else, but, yeah, it was like, Binks could very easily have been like right next to this thing when it exploded. And that was the scary part about it. But yeah, so, we put the fire out. Luckily, we keep a little mini fire extinguisher around my house. Highly recommend. Please, everybody, have a little fire extinguisher around your house. You never know. Yeah, no, so I was able to put it out. But I remember when I first saw it, like, I don't have a very good panic response. So on my way to get the fire extinguisher, I just like yelled to my computer, to my D&D group. I was like, hey guys, my couch is on fire. I'll be back in a few minutes. And then, so I took care of that. I got slightly burned in the process of taking care of it. It was totally fine and everything. It was just, but I did need to go to the, to get it looked at and everything, just to make sure it was okay. Cause it did hurt quite bad, but it wasn't a severe burn. I'm just a baby. So I remember, one of my family members was picking me up because it was like it was hurting too much to drive. And so I went back to my D&D group. I was like, hey guys, I'm going to the emergency room because my hand got kind of burned, but I'm okay. You guys just keep playing. I'll be back later. And then, like I said, my brain was just going a million miles a minute. And then I came back and talked to them later, and they were like, did you seriously tell us to keep playing when your couch caught on fire and you were on your way to the emergency room? They were like, in what world did you think we were just gonna be like, okay, we'll just breeze past that and all right, roll initiative. But no, so all good. Like I said, a little bit of trauma flashbacks from almost setting that tote bag on fire, but we're okay. Oh. All right, so we have a few more things from the Raven's Lego box. I'm going to do my very best to not set them on fire. Maybe I gotta look into getting some fake candles. Might be safer. I actually went to a vampire cafe like a week before I left Tokyo, and they had some like really convincing fake candles. I didn't realize they were fake until I'd been there for like half an hour. The way they moved, I don't know what it was, but it wasn't like just like the little like bulb that like flickered. Kind of a la Spirit Halloween decorations. It was like, I don't know what it was, but it looked really good. I gotta call them up, see what they're using, because obviously I need maybe need something a little safer. But yeah, so this is something. If found, please return to Richard Campbell Gansey III in Monmouth Manufacturing. Some sort of little journal, I'm assuming. I actually have a, I wonder if it's somewhere nearby. I don't know where it is offhand. But well, let's finish looking at this first, and then I'll show you. But I love this. A little like, I think this is. I would imagine this is synthetic leather. Because of the price of the box. It's not like cheap or anything, you know, but it's just like, I wouldn't imagine they're using real leather. I could be wrong, but they got like a nice little notebook. They've got the little Raven Cycle symbol at the bottom with the ley lines. But yeah, and it just like wraps up. Oh, this is cute. I love this. This is such like an aesthetic little journal. With a little compass sort of emblem on there. It says Excelsior. Need to fireproof all Salem's housing clothes. Yeah, this might be a good idea. But yeah, I actually bought a little like leather bound journal a while back that was I got it was someplace on Etsy that did like custom like engravings and stuff in their binders and everything, and so it was like sort of a like travel journal that I got some quote from the Raven Cycle and like a little bee symbol I think engraved on it. I think I got like the quote of something like what do you know about dead Welsh kings or something like that on it. That I really like. It's got a very similar vibe to this. But alright, we're starting to hit the bottom. We have a bookmark. Fate is a very weighty word to throw around before breakfast. With some of the symbols and stuff of the Raven Cycle. We got some of Blue's hair clips. We got Gansy's glasses, the Page of Cups. We got the map to Cabe's Water, I believe. This might not be necessarily to Cabe's Water, but signifying them like their search for dead Welsh kings. Yeah, got a lot of little fun symbols. And finally, oh, actually, maybe not finally. There's one more thing in here. I think this is just like a little booklet of some kind. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Like little location posters. The Henrietta Caverns. St. Mark's Eve. These are so aesthetic. I love these. And Cabe's Water. Love a good horned forest creature. Love it. So we got those. I'm really excited. I gotta frame these and put these up somewhere. Absolutely love those. Like, it's so funny because like I know like a lot of people with like collector stuff, they're like, I want to put this away and keep it safe and in perfect condition and stuff. But like you guys just saw, like I just pulled out that tote bag and immediately set it on fire. It just, you know, it'd be like that sometimes. But I'm very much like a person who, if I get things, I want to use them, you know? Like, and I know that means they're gonna, like, you know, degrade and get destroyed and all of that. But, like, you know, I don't want to put my things in, like, a shiny glass case and never use them. Like, I think that's the fun part about stuff like this. Like, I can't wait to use this candle and drink this tea and use this cup and maybe throw away this silicone. But... and put this keychain on my little key holder and get it all scratched up and fill out 2 pages of this binder and then forget I have it, never use it again. I'm just so excited to do all that stuff. But anyway though, finally, the piece de resistance. The special edition cover of the Raven Boys. The book club discussion guide. Hold on, you guys, we can have a book club. Wait, I actually need to go through and do this myself. Hold on. Reread the quotes in the prologue from Edgar Allan Poe and Oscar Wilde. Do they mean something different to you now that you've read The Raven Boys? And the character's clothes are referred to... Oh, I gotta go through it. I'm so excited about this. But this cover looks so good. Wait, hold on. Did they do my boy... Did they do my boy Noah Cherney dirty? Oh, Noah... But we've got Gansey, Richard Campbell Gamsey III right here. We've got Adam Parrish, and we've got Ronan Lynch. Noah Cherney's here somewhere. I know it in my heart. So no Noah? Oh. Oh, I had so much fun opening that. I love the Raven Cycle. That was so much fun. Alright, we're gonna put this all away. We're not gonna set anything else on fire. I can't believe I did that. That's insane. You know what? Hey. For the content. Are you saying Gansey? I keep hearing Gamsey. Yeah, not Gamsey, like Homestuck. Gansey. Like, Gansey, I believe is how it's spelled, if I remember correctly. Did the bag get damaged at all? Yeah, it got a little scorched. It's okay, though. It's, now it's personalized. I'm so sad when they don't include Noah in the Gangsy. Yeah, I know! Anytime people leave him out, I'm like, you guys! He's so important, Noah. I love you. I'll care about you more just because they ignored you. Squirt is that character? Yeah, exactly. A monthly book club stream, actually, that would actually be really fun. I'm gonna have to think about that. But it's honestly, if I end up doing a book club kind of stream, it's just gonna be me being like, hey guys, read this book that I really like, and then I'm gonna talk about it at you for 2 hours. Oh. Very big fan of obvious signs of repair, like you love the thing enough to use it, but you also want to have it as long as possible. Yeah. Like, what's that, that like, kintsugi, I think is what it's called, like the Japanese thing where they repair like pottery with like gold lacquer and stuff, and you can see all the cracks. Like I really like that kind of thing too. Not necessarily like just that style, but yeah, like I get that, like using something that has obviously been repaired is a good vibe. With guitars, we call that relicking. Ooh, I haven't heard of that before. I feel like if a character is named Noah, they're usually a side character. Oh, my poor sweet Noah Cherney. Do you have a Tumblr? Would you think make one? Probably not. I do not have a Tumblr. Probably wouldn't make one just because, like, I feel like Tumblr is very much like, I wouldn't really post anything on there that I wouldn't already post on Twitter, and I'm just sort of, I already, like, I'm trying to, I try to keep my stuff as condensed as possible. I sort of had, sort of social media creep a while back where I was like, you know, I had my YouTube, and then I had a second YouTube, and then I had Twitter, and then I had a second Twitter, and then I had a TikTok, and I had a Discord, and you know, it just got to be like too, it was spreading out too much. So I try to keep everything condensed and slurped in just as much as I can, to not lose track of it. And because I only have so much energy. Trying to stay focused on streaming and creating videos now. Oh, Sissy Girl 10, thank you so much for the follow. Good to have you here with us. Thank you for joining the coven. Mwah. And then I wouldn't read the book and just listen to you talk about it. Yeah, I can see that. Not just, I don't mean like with you, but just in general, I can see that being how a stream book club would go. On the zitter until it collapses. Yeah, I know everybody's like trying to like migrate to like Blue Sky and stuff, and I'm just like, you know, we're here already. I'm gonna go down with the ship. You know, if Twitter ends up going down, I don't know if that'll even end up making like a new thing somewhere else. I don't think it'll go down, but you know, who knows at this point. A SalemAudio books. Hey, it fits with the name already. Oh, Sammy, thank you so much for popping by. It's good to see you. Which only has so many spoons, and most of them are dedicated to Tea Party. Yeah. Would you reopen the Discord if and when it goes down? I mean, the Discord is definitely. I was for those of you who aren't here yesterday, I was talking a little bit about this as well. So for the Discord, which for those of you who don't know, is currently on hiatus. It's on pause. So that's why if you've tried to use like a invite link to join or anything and have not been successful, that is why it's currently not open at the moment. Because it's just sort of like I wasn't making videos consistently, and I wasn't streaming consistently. I was basically putting like a little bit of energy into a lot of places, and I don't want to do that. It didn't really make sense to me to like have like 2 Twitters and a TikTok and making YouTube shorts and have a Discord server and stuff if I wasn't actually doing the things that all of those things were centered around, which was streaming on Twitch and making ASMR videos for my YouTube and Patreon. So if I wasn't doing those, it didn't really make sense to me to have all of these other things. So until I am streaming consistently and I am posting videos consistently, both of those things, I'm not going to be expanding or looking or reopening the Discord. So I like with full transparency, the Discord reopening is an if, not necessarily a when. I would like to reopen it, but it's just going to depend on once I have like I said, once I have consistency with those things again, how much energy I have left over. Because like, and I know like you can just open a Discord and then like not really be active or anything in it. But you know, if I have a Discord, like I don't want to just be like, hey guys, here's a Discord. I never look at it. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. To me, that doesn't feel right, but I don't know. That's just me. All right. I think we've got. Oh no, we have. I was gonna say I think we have our last package, but we have 2 left. I have 1 here, and I have one I'm gonna have to pull in from the other room because it's really freaking big. I don't know what's in it. I don't know what's in any of these, but I especially don't know what's in that one. So I think everything that I have, all the packages that I have left are going to be all figures though. Because I kind of went a little too crazy pre-ordering figures a while back. I no longer do that because it was way too freaking expensive. And I also just don't have any more space for any figures at all. My space is maxed out. So where these are gonna go, that's a good question. I don't have an answer for that. But we'll see. Like, the little ones, like, you know, like Zag and Thanatos, you know, I could probably find space for a couple Nendroids, like, here and there. But, you know, for, like, the full-size figures, I got no idea. Now I definitely can't cut myself on stream because setting something on fire is enough. We don't need... that's already too much, actually, I would argue. Oh, Potato, have a good night. Rest well. Thank you so much for stopping by. Ooh, okay, I know it's okay. This one took me a second to figure out what it was. It's our boy Zagreus again. It's kind of hard to see because of the box and everything, but it's the pop-up parade figure of Zag. Yeah, it's like impossible to see because of that light, but yeah, we got more Zag. More of our little guy with he's got the sword with him. Yeah, the pop-up parade figures are a really nice like budget line of figures, honestly. Like, because I think they're usually only like what, like they're like usually like $25 or something like that. Zag, but herbal. But yeah, they're usually really nice looking though for the price. Like, you know, I feel like sort of, I feel like you, especially with the pop-up parade figures, like you sort of get like the like knockoffs or like the really cheap figures and stuff from like the $5 to $15 range that look like quite not great. And then you have like, but like once you start getting into like the $25 range with the pop-up parade figures, you can get some nice looking figures. They're not like extravagant with like custom bases or anything like that, but they're nice. They don't have like weird janky faces or anything like that. They're really nice for like if you just want like a few, or you're not super into figures but you want to get one of like your favorite character or something. I have quite a few, I think, but it's like honestly like sometimes I can't even tell the difference. Like there's some figures that I have that I'm like, I couldn't tell you if this is like an $80-$90 like 1/7 scale like Kotobukiya style figure, or if this is like a $25 pop-up parade figure. I couldn't tell you because some of the pop-up parade figures just look that good. But I am going to that was all that was in that package, I believe. Let me double yeah. So I'm going to go grab the final package and I will be right back. I will see you in just a moment. Oh yeah. Give me just a second. I gotta open it over here. So. This is literally like. I truly, I can't even put like. I can't even put the box in frame because it's so freaking big. What's in here? What did I order this big? Jeez. Is this like an Omyoji figure? Because those are really gigantic. Oh, this is an Omyoji figure. That makes sense now. These Omyoji figures are freaking massive. Who is this? I think it's... Oh, it's the Otakemaru figure. Okay. I was like, I don't... They always send like the Omyoji figures always have like a bunch of like other little goodies with them. Like the a couple other Omyoji figures I got had like gold necklaces and postcards with them. There's one that had like a little like bracelet charm. They're always like they're kind of crazy. Jesus, this one came with a ton of stuff. Sorry, I had to take a break for a second. It's getting too hot. Oh my god! Distance draw the limit. Okay. We made it. Where did I put my knife? Okay, so we'll open some of the little goodies first, and we'll see what's in here. This is insane. Like all the Omyoji figures I've ever got have always been kind of insane, but this is like way more. Just imagining it's like a life-size Rhythesely. God, I wish. God, I wish. If they ever come out with a Rhythesely figure, I'm in danger. Okay, so we've got, this is true, like I said, like this is all just like side things that came with the figure. This is like not extra stuff I ordered. This is just stuff they include with the figure. But there's a little enamel pin. Well, not little actually, a big enamel pin. But it's got some of his like sort of symbols and stuff on it. I will say, as much as I wish that Raven Cycle box had been my last one, this is a fitting final box. Because this is insane. Okay, what do we got in here? Oh, also, Chainsaw, hello. I'm sorry, I was struggling a little bit. I think when your follow came through, I just saw that. But thank you so much for the follow. It's good to have you here with us. Welcome to the coven. All right, so what do we got in here? If I could get this open. Oh my gosh, Delphi, hello! Hi, it's so good to see you! Hold on 1 second. Let me get back over to... Sorry, everything's kind of a mess right now. We're having a chill stream and... Jump scare. But yes, hello, welcome in. It's good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. What were you streaming today? I've been good, thank you. I've been just relaxing a little bit. We're just I just have a bunch of packages that came while I was not here at home over the past many months. So we're just doing like a little package opening stream and just vibing. We got some tea and a little camera setup and everything. So we're just chilling. Ooh, IDV with some viewers. I hope you were winning. We did almost have a fire earlier. Apparently I should not be trusted with open flames. But let me get you a little yeah, no, that was not ideal. But Raiders, hello, my name is Salem. I am a witch VTuber. I actually just returned to Twitch after about a year-long hiatus while I was living in Japan. And so I'm kind of breaking back into the swing of things. So I really appreciate you guys coming and stopping by and saying hello. But yeah, mostly do kind of more chill vibe streams and stuff around here. We do some tea parties. We do a little gaming here and there, but thank you once again, Delphi, for dropping by. It's good to get to say hello. And please, anybody who would like to, I highly recommend checking Delphi out. I love your model. I think your model is so pretty. I highly recommend giving it a little look for anybody who's curious. I love you, Japan Boss, but glad to see your streams again. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it was fun to get to share some of the stuff I was able to go see and do and everything. But I'm definitely glad to be back. I miss getting to say hi to everybody. I miss streaming and making videos and stuff. Been listening to your audios ever since you left. Glad you're back. Oh, Val, thank you so much. I'm glad to be back. It's been too long. So, just to let you guys know what we're doing, we're just, like I said, we're doing like some package openings and stuff. This is actually our final package for the night. We've opened everything else, and so this is from a really ridiculous figure that I got from Omyoji, which is a gacha game, a mobile gacha, that I really love. Has a lot of really cool character designs and stuff. And they're always so extra with their figures. Like, they always send like jewelry and postcards and everything, like with these like huge figure boxes. This is probably the most ridiculous one I've gotten yet. And so there's like a whole like a what do you call these, like a room separator kind of thing. Oh my gosh, and it's got like an image on the other side. yeah. That's the stuff. That's my crazy little guy. Otakemaru has like feral vibes. I love him, but he is a feral boy. But yeah, so like I said, like their figures like always just have like stuff like this, and I'm like, what do you mean? Wow. But yeah, so we've got that. We've got that. We'll set these aside. I don't even know where to put all this stuff. Jesus. Probably not gonna open these right now just because I don't have. I got so much garbage. But I'll just hold these up a little close to the camera in case you would like to see them. But there is one of the Otakemaru illustrations, and here is the other. Just a feral little dude. Oh, Val, thank you so much. I'm glad you like my nails. I was so sad I can't go to the person that I used to go to get them done because they are on the other side of the Pacific Ocean, which is unfortunate, but I'm glad I was able to get one last little kind of fancy set from them. Top of the stream, our care package. Oh, thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. Stretch and posture check. Thank you. Also, Delphi, I don't know if you're still hanging around or not, but I hope you can get some good rest. I know. Oh my gosh! After my first stream back yesterday, I like passed out for like 10 hours. I just like slept so hard, and I was like, damn, I forgot about this part. I forgot that streaming does this to you. So hope you're able to get some snacks and maybe some rest or anything that you need. Rosalind, oh my gosh, it's been so long. Hello, it's good to see you. Alright, what's in here? What the heck we got going on in here? I got like a little little like gotcha item. Okay, so it's one of these. These are some of the other Omyoji characters. Once again, I know you can't see that well because it's all just purple from my blacklight, but we have, what's their name? We've got, Kingyo, I think was her name. Bake Kujira. It's like a little whale girl, whale boy, whale person. I can't remember. A little just bastard man. I can't remember his name, but evil. Like that one meme of like I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who's like baby boy, baby, evil. This is evil. This is truly like that is what I feel in my heart when I see this man. I love, like, he's a really cool character. Love him, but also evil. Funny enough, like, all three of these characters were really just, like, the bane of people's existence at different points of the meta in the PvP in Omyoji, in, like, the duels. All three of them were just nightmares to come across at certain points. And then let's see who we got. Harrison Ford, yeah. I think that's right too. Back from Japan, indeed. Back from Japan. We're back home. We're all settled in. We're mostly settled in. I wouldn't say all settled in, but we're getting there. Oh, this is such a cute little. Oh, look at her. she was a really useful, she's got like some candles on her head. So she essentially had like an ability where she would summon like a totem that was attached to one of your enemies, and I think the totem had like 70% of their HP or something like that, and then any damage you did to that, it did like 70% of that damage to the enemy. So essentially, if you were casting or doing any attacks that were like AoE effects, it would hit the enemy and it would hit the doll that the enemy was attached to. So you would do damage to them directly and then damage to them through the doll. She was a really like meta character, not necessarily for PvP, but for PvE content. She was like really important in a lot of stuff. So I'm glad she was a cherished member of my team for many years. Where did I end up staying? I was in Tokyo. I was near Shinjuku. I wasn't quite in Shinjuku, but I was in a part of Tokyo called Toshima. That I really liked because it was a very convenient place to live. I truly don't know if I can actually show like the box for this figure. Let me see what I can move out of the way, because this box is huge. I'm gonna mute my mic so you guys don't hear me like just banging stuff around. This is truly as much of the box as I can get on screen. So, like here is where the box starts, just for like scale. Like, it's like here, like if I put my hand like next to it, there's this. Like here, it doesn't even reach like the top of the candle, right? It's hard to like describe like scale of stuff. But then like, so my hand is half the size of this candle. This candle, I'm going to be very careful about this, I promise, does not come up, comes like maybe like 2/3 of the way up the box. It's just like, it's so big, I can't fit enough on camera to explain to you guys how big this box is. Don't worry, Fire. I'm being careful. I'm being extra careful about it now. Snowfall, hello Jello. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for stopping by. Headed to Shinjuku for 3 weeks in March, but flying from East Coast is gonna be a nightmare. Yeah, flying from West Coast I think is a little, it's a pretty okay experience. I mean, it's a long flight, of course, but I've heard flying from the East Coast is a little rougher. Gonna head to bed because it's 2 a.m. Trying to get up early in the morning. Oh, well, thank you so much for stopping by. It was good to say hello. Thank you for hanging out with me. Oy. We're gonna see if we can... I don't know if I'm gonna be able to even fit the figure on screen if I open this, but we'll try. Because I want to show you how impressive these... Like, the Onmyoji figures, like I was saying earlier, that a lot of the times I think nowadays figure companies kind of just phone it in a little bit. They know people will buy stuff no matter what. So they're not as creative, and they don't do like figures that are as expensive to make anymore. But like Onmyoji figures are not like that. Like, they really go hard on Onmyoji figures, and I want to show you guys. Yeah, like, and like the packaging and stuff on them, like, again, being very careful of the fire. Like, it's got like They've all got like the padded corners and everything. Like they're just, and this was like the box that was in a bigger box. So we've literally had, we're 3 boxes deep now. They're really making me work for this final package to get it all open. Alright. We're just like slowly getting to smaller boxes. So I can slowly show more and more of each one. So we've got this here. Stretch. Amy, thank you very much for the stretch. Oi, 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 oi. Take you. Shipping said you want this, you gotta work for it. Shipping said you want this, you gotta pay for it, is what they said for sure. Okay. Okay, gotta mute again to move my mic around. I'm not too worried about keeping the box in like good condition or anything, because I'm just gonna throw it away. I don't have room for boxes this big. Like, I know that's like a cardinal sin in the figure collecting hobby, but I throw almost all of my, actually I think I throw all of my boxes away, because I don't have room. Like I don't get how people, like, I know some people will like flat pack their boxes and then they just take everything apart and just but I'm just like that. Even that, I just don't have the room. Like, I really think that people are like, I think because of the type of game Omyoji is, I really think people sleep on it. Like, I think it was such a fun game, but just because it's not like an open world, like, Genshin style game, it's just like, it just doesn't get the same kind of popularity, unfortunately. It's like a more of like a strategy type of game. And I will admit, some of the new characters and stuff, when I stopped playing, the abilities were getting a little cryptic and hard to understand. But it was like, I played that game every day for like 3.5 years straight. I love that game, and I think the designs in it are just so phenomenal. They are just so incredibly good. Alright, so we are gonna, I'm gonna keep the character illustration, but it does look like there are quite a few pieces to this. So I think I probably will not open this on stream. It's just a little bit much. We've gotten this far. Unfortunately, I was hoping to be able to really open it and put it together on stream, but it's just, I'm literally surrounded by like mountains of boxes and trash around me. I don't have any more room to put anything else. Getting a bit tired, so I'm gonna head to bed. Oh, please get some rest, Val. Thank you so much for stopping by. It was good getting to say hello. Oh. But as a consolation prize, I'll show you guys some of the other figures, just so you can get an idea for how insane the Omyoji figures are. Let me grab, who do we have around here? We have Ibaraki Doji is the easiest, probably. Oh, there we go. Like I said, he's a little dusty. My apologies, I've been gone for a year. But like, it has this like claw hand base. It's just such a beautiful figure. Like, and it's big. Like, it is a large figure. And just like the detail that's like put into it and everything. Like, let me see if I have. Like, it's such, like, the figures they make are insane. Oh, Kip, next, please. Yeah, go get some rest. It was good to get to see you guys again. I hope you rest well. Get some good dreams. I'll do my best to send some your way. But yeah, Ibaraki Doji, my beloved. Every time I'm talking about Ibaraki Doji or Shuten Doji, I was gonna say if anybody's played the game, but honestly, I truly, I would be shocked if anybody here had played Homyoji. But anytime like I'm talking about either of them, I feel like I'm like, hello, my name is Salem, and this is my boyfriend Ibaraki Doji, and this is Ibaraki Doji's boyfriend Shuten Doji. They're just onis in love. I love them. I love them. and they love each other. The only bit of knowledge I have of that game is what you showed. I remember like when I showed some of it in I streamed a little bit of my Discord, and then I'd also streamed some on Twitch, I remember at one point, and I just remember everybody was like, that's a lot of numbers. I don't know what they mean. But yeah, it's but I also played at 2 times speed, so there was that, but yeah, I feel like everybody was always very confused every time I played Omyoji, which is valid. It's not the most straightforward of games. Early morning weekends, showing off the boys on stream. Yeah. Gotta show off the boys. Oh, yeah. Oh. Man, the EP is starting to hit me too. This might be like another 10-hour nap kind of night. It might be like that tonight. So I think that's probably gonna be it. I think that is all of my package finally out of the way. Oh my gosh, where the heck is this all gonna go? I'm just looking at it all and kind of absorbing. Yeah. Oh, hiccups. Thank you for the reminder, Nix. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh no. Are you gonna be making a schedule? Yeah, for now I'm just gonna be kind of... Oh my gosh, hiccups. So for now, I'm just gonna be kind of streaming randomly for the next probably couple of weeks. Until I do I'm gonna wait, and that's just gonna be kind of as I'm getting my OBS set back up and all my apps, and you know, get things all set once again, because I had to pretty much completely wipe my computer and rebuild my stream setup from scratch when I got back home, because my PC was just very messed up. So yeah, it's for the next couple weeks, it's probably just gonna be sort of like random guerrilla streams, but until then, or after that, sorry, my brain is starting to shut down. After that, I will be doing scheduled streams again, and so my schedules will be on Twitter, and I will be announcing my streams on my Discord for those of you who are in there already still. I will be doing using like the announcements channel, so even though like the Discord is inactive, that is one thing that it will still be used for. So Alright, so I think it is about time to get this set up. Let me see if this... Does this work? Here we go. Alright, I tried to use this command yesterday, but I didn't have Nightbot set back up, so now it's working. Alright, so we are going to get started. We're going to get ready to raid. So, for those who, like I said, we're still getting ready. I haven't set it quite yet, but just so you know, that's going to be our raid message. Anybody who would like to join in the raid, you do get some extra channel points, which later on you will be able to redeem for ASMR and to turn me into a little cat witch and do all kinds of fun stuff with. So if you'd like to join in the raid, would love to have you. If not, no worries. Please get some remst. But if you are subscribed, you already have the what emote is that? Salem Excite. You already have the Salem Excite emote. If you are not, then and you would like to unlock it. I'm trying to remember the spiel. I used to have a spiel. I don't remember what it was. But if you would like to unlock the Salem Excite emote to join in the raid, you can use 80 channel points to unlock the Salem Excite emote and use it for our raid. We are going to go say hello to somebody new. I don't think we have raided before. They're not new on Twitch or anything. They're quite popular. I love their model. I think we got look, they're a dog boy. You can't not love a dog boy. Just love the vibes. So I am going to start heading off and getting some remst, cause I'm a little sleepy. Now how do you set up a raid? How do you stream again? How do you be a Twitch streamer? But thank you all so much for coming and hanging out with me. I very much appreciate it. I'm looking forward to probably no stream tomorrow. I don't know for sure yet. I don't know when. Like I said, we're just kind of going on vibes. Well, you know, there'll be another stream when there's another stream. If you'd like to keep updated with that, Twitter is probably the best place to do so. But we are going to go stop by a nice little just chatting stream that Kaio is running. Oh, Sobi, hello! I just saw you pop by. Hello. I hope you're doing well. I unrated. That's not what I meant to do. All right, here we go. Okay, so now we're going to go say hello to Kaio. So like I said, for those of you who are here and would like to join in the raid, if you are subscribed, you can use that witchy raid raid message right here, and you can join in along with us. But thank you all so much for coming and joining. Sorry, that was a really long outro. My brain is I got scrambled eggs for brains right now. Thank you all so much for coming and joining me and spending some time with me and just chilling and vibing while we open some packages and see what kind of fun stuff we got, and almost setting my house on fire. Thank you so much. It was so good seeing you all. Gothella, hello and goodbye. Thank you so much for stopping by. Sorry, we're heading off, but I will hopefully get the chance to say hello again another time. Good morning, good night, good time zone, and I will see you all later. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Mwah! Sweet dreams.